As a kid, watching Star Wars, everyone always talks about how scary Darth Vader was, but to me, Darth Vader was the cool one. But the Emperor, he was the one that was really creepy. And he was like the epitome of the creepy old guy that you don't want to run into as a kid. It's just really weird to think that Ian McDairmid was only 37 years old when he played that character in Return of the Jedi for the first time. And that's only 3 years older than me. So here I am all these years later. Now I'm the creepy old guy because I'm playing Palpatine in this film. I was never really scared of the Palpatine character as a kid. He was very interesting to me, even though he was really creepy. He's actually the first movie villain character that I can remember really being interested in the performance of the guy. So I guess he was really kind of the first time I noticed what acting really was. Plus he shot lightning out of his hands, which was pretty cool. An interesting thing to note about Palpatine is Ian McDairmid was a stage actor, and he was actually playing the devil in a stage play when director Richard Marquand was trying to cast the Emperor. They couldn't find a guy for the Emperor. They were looking all over for actors. They couldn't find anyone they liked. And then Richard Marquand suggested to George Lucas, it's like, hey, I saw this guy in a play. He played the devil and he was really creepy. And it's interesting because George Lucas always describes the Emperor as the devil. He's the one who, you know, tempts Anakin away, and he's like the epitome of evil in the Star Wars universe. Even when he points, you'll notice like he doesn't do the Harrison Ford point, but he'll always point like this, which he's even making the devil sign, and he did that purposely. So that was one of the things that I paid attention to with my portrayal of Palpatine, was I paid attention to like how he would hold his hands, different expressions he would make, the way he would hold his mouth and form his words to try to emulate his performance as much as possible. I've only done a little bit of makeup in the past. Pretty simple stuff, face paint. I've done Darth Maul a couple times. I handled the scratches on our Jedi for the film, some of the blood and scratches, that kind of stuff. But I've never done full prosthetics before. This was a first for me, and it confirms something I always thought ever since I was a teenager watching Star Trek, that like I always thought like, man, I would really like to play a Cardassian because that looks like that would be really fun. And I still think it would be a lot of fun because I know a lot of actors really hate being in the prosthetics, but aside from the pain of taking it off, because I think I used a little too much glue when I was putting it on because I didn't want it falling off mid-performance, I had a great time wearing it because like it completely transforms what you look like. You can really feel like you're a different character, and it wasn't uncomfortable. I mean, I was worried that, you know, I'd never done it before, and John Rhys Davies, when he was playing Gimli, he had a severe allergic reaction to the latex and the adhesives and all that stuff, and his face swelled up, his eyes swelled shut, he couldn't hardly see, you know, his skin was peeling off. So in the back of my mind, the first time when I was gluing that stuff on, I was thinking like, I wonder if I'm allergic to this stuff, and I wonder if my face is going to like you know, swell up like a balloon and I won't even be able to see in the next couple days. So it was kind of scary, and I was also really nervous about ruining the prosthetics because this was like a one-time thing. They're very expensive prosthetics, and I've never worked with prosthetics before. So I was really nervous about ruining them when I was trying to put them on. And fortunately everything went really well, because I mean, we've watched so many special effects documentaries over the years. I was familiar with how it worked even though I'd never done it before. I mean, we've watched special features from, you know, Rick Baker doing prosthetic work, Michael Westmore doing all the aliens for Star Trek. Gino Acevedo, who was John Rhys Davies' makeup artist for Lord of the Rings. He also did a lot of the orcs in the Uruk-hai. So like I've seen the process of how they put makeup on and how the prosthetics work. I just never done it before. I mean, I've even watched documentaries on like Jack Pierce doing the old Frankenstein makeup with the collodion and cotton and all that old stuff. So I've watched a lot of it. I just never done it before, so it was really exciting. And really, I was nervous at first, but once I got the neck on and I got that first seam down the middle of the head attached, it really wasn't scary or hard or anything. So it was a lot of fun, actually. I think every little kid, when they're a Star Wars fan, puts a blanket over their head and tries to sound like the Emperor at least once. At least all the little boys do. When I was a kid, I had an Emperor Palpatine toy, and so did my older brother, and so we would play with them together, and they were like, you know, the Palpatine brothers. It was like this weird thing we did where my guy's name was Sid, and he was the grumpy one, and my brother's Palpatine, we called him Pal, and he was just like an idiot. They were very much like Pinky and the Brain. Sid was always trying to take over the galaxy. Pal was just an idiot, and he was confused, and he wanted to have fun all the time. So really, from a very young age, I was goofing around with a Palpatine voice, but it was like a more kind of goofy, cartoony take on it. But really, once the prequels came out, that gave me a good reference point for Ian McDairmid's voice, because I heard him in all of the behind-the-scenes features. I heard him with all of his Palpatine lines throughout the movie. Beyond just trying to capture the cadence of Palpatine and his rhythms of speech and his voice, one of the biggest things about sounding like Palpatine is the writing. A lot of times I've noticed in different Star Wars comics or books, the way they have Palpatine speak doesn't fit his character. He either comes off like too Shakespearean, which that sounds kind of funny to say, but like he's either too grandiose, or he seems like a Star Trek villain, or he just sounds too regular and he's using just kind of like just average Joe kind of speech. And you have to find the right balance. He can't seem like a comic book villain. You got to get that personality right, or no matter what prosthetics you have or what voice you're doing, you're not going to seem like the Emperor. The process of bringing Palpatine to the screen for this film has been an evolution, much like the film itself. Because initially, this movie was supposed to just be about 15 minutes long. I have a rough cut of it now, and we don't even have everything filmed, and it's about an hour long already. So this is going to be a good sized film when it's done. But originally it was supposed to be about 5 minutes of setup so you know why the fight was happening. About a 5-minute fight. And then I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have Vader talk to the Emperor at the end of the film? For a short time I was actually thinking about having it be a hologram, because I thought that would be a nice cheat. I might be able to get away with a hologram easier than trying to do the Emperor. I threw that out quick. And then the next thought was like, we could do it like the scene in episode 1 where Darth Sidious and Darth Maul are walking across that balcony. So we were going to do the Emperor like most fan films, just by kind of pulling the hood really far down over an actor's face, and we were going to have Vader and the Emperor walking down that same balcony. And I thought that would be a cool callback to episode 1, and it was kind of cool in theory, and we even filmed a version of it. But when I watched it back after I had it all cut together, it was kind of boring to look at, because there was no life to the scene, because you were basically looking at kind of like a hood and half of a guy's nose, and that was about it. So it was like, okay, well that won't work. So then as the movie grew and got bigger and bigger, we thought, well, why don't we make our own prosthetics? So I sculpted this Palpatine prosthetic. I actually sculpted it 3 different times because we could never cast the thing. we were having all kinds of problems with the plaster trying to make the mold to make our own prosthetics with. So it was like, well, crap, now I've written all this other extra Palpatine stuff because I thought we were gonna, be able to have this cool Palpatine prosthetic. So I was looking all over the internet trying to find an alternative since we couldn't make our own prosthetics. And I finally found a really good Palpatine prosthetic. And so that's what you see on screen. And I'm very happy with the result of it. I really hope that people are going to be happy with what they see with Palpatine in this film. We put a lot of time and effort into trying to be as faithful to George Lucas's version of Palpatine as possible, and really trying to pay proper respect to Ian McDairmid's performance. So I spent hours and hours watching, studying his performance, his mannerisms, the faces he would make, how he would hold his body, how he would walk. So I really hope people are excited about this fan film, and I really hope they enjoy seeing the Emperor and Vader on screen again, because I've cut some of the footage together already, and I gotta say it is pretty cool seeing Vader standing next to the Emperor. So it's been quite a thrill to play Palpatine.